When Black Ops 2 released 13 years ago, Treyarch built almost every Zombies Easter egg around the assumption that you'd have 4 players to complete it. For many years, this meant maps like Buried couldn't be completed with less than 4 people. But about 10 years after Black Ops 2 was released, players started finding incredible ways to outsmart these Easter eggs and beat them with way less players than should be possible. And just a few weeks ago, as thousands of players returned to Black Ops 2 after the PS5 ports were released, the world's first 2-player buried Easter egg was completed. In this video, we're gonna go over just how this insane achievement happened so many years later, and also how other insane discoveries have happened on Black Ops 2 way after the game's lifecycle. Now obviously, the buried Easter egg starts on Wave 1. Wait, did I just call it a zombie wave? That's right, today's video is sponsored by Zombie Waves. If you're a Zombies fan like me, I think you'll like this. Zombie Waves is a fast-paced roguelike zombie shooter, where every run plays out differently depending on the upgrades you choose. As you play, you'll level up throughout each run and choose from one of 3 random upgrades, like freezing enemies, burning bullets, lightning strikes, and my personal favorite, meteors. So no 2 runs ever feel the same. The thing I liked the most about Zombie Waves was experimenting with different upgrade combos every run. I'd get offered upgrades that completely changed the build I was going for, and it was pretty fun putting together different overpowered setups to wipe out huge zombie hordes. Outside of the runs themselves, there's also plenty of progression. You can unlock and upgrade new gear, like armor and equipment, collect drones and robots to help you in battle, and there are multiple game modes if you want something other than the main campaign. If you want to check it out for yourself, now is a great time because Zombie Waves is celebrating its 3rd anniversary. Use my link in the description or scan the QR code on screen to download the game and claim a special starter pack worth $50, including weapon material pull vouchers, Robot Decryptors, an equipment draw voucher, and 888 diamonds. Thanks again to Zombie Waves for sponsoring this video, and now, let's get back to Black Ops 2 Buried. Let's start at the beginning. Like the other Victus maps, Tranzit and Die Rise, the Buried main quest Easter egg has the version where you follow Maxis and the version with Richthofen. These are both completely different quests, commonly referred to as the Maxis side and the Richthofen side of the Easter egg. Unfortunately for the Richthofen side, this Easter egg will forever only be possible with 4 players, because on the step where you need to go to round infinity, the game will check if you have 4 players around the guillotine, and if you don't, the step will fail. If it wasn't for this single line of code that prevents less than 4 players from going to round infinity, the Richthofen side Easter egg could be possible with less players. The Maxis side, on the other hand, doesn't have a step where the game checks if you have 4 players, and all of the steps are possible with 3 or even 2 players. First, you have to charge the orbs with the paralyzer and build the noose. Then you can blow up the lantern and build it to get the cipher code and knife the signs in the correct order using that code. Then escort the wisp, go back in time, escort the wisp again, then comes the bell step. Each light on the panel in the witch's house corresponds to a bell location around the map. One person will read them and another can go around and ring the bells. Once this is done, comes the infamous sharpshooter step. Sharpshooter is the last step on both buried Easter eggs, where 84 total targets will quickly appear in 4 different sections of the map, and if you miss a single target, you have to restart the step. This meant that when Buried first came out, you absolutely needed 4 players to complete Sharpshooter. And this step would take forever to complete because even with 4 players, there was always someone that missed a target. Even to this day, it's one of the most frustrating Easter egg steps in Zombies. But 7 years after release, Rahim, Nanikos, and Hatcher found that 3-player Sharpshooter is technically possible if you position each player to take certain targets that the 4th player would normally shoot. On January 25th, 2020, the first buried Easter egg with 3 players was completed after dozens of attempts and practice.
Total mine. Yes! We did it!
This isn't the end though. Another 6 years later, or about a month ago, a player named Nukes wanted to definitively prove once and for all that a 2-player completion was not possible on Buried. So he recruited his friend, Rahim, to help him do some testing for the 2-player Easter egg. But in the process of trying to prove that it wasn't possible, Nukes and Rahim accidentally discovered a way to make it possible. At this point, all of the steps were possible with 2 players except for Sharpshooter, the last step. And with hours of experimentation and practice, they figured out that by using the trample steam to traverse the map quickly, and also using the Pack-a-Punch M16's grenade launcher to noob tube targets, Nukes and Raheem were able to complete 2-player sharpshooter with the game slowed to 30% speed, proving it was theoretically possible. But then came the issue of actually doing it legitimately, because the player on the balcony needs to hit 55 targets in the span of around 45 seconds to do it without speed hacks. The 2 players to eventually do the Easter egg legit were Flo and B-Dog. B-Dog is a semi-pro Valorant player with absolutely cracked aim, allowing him to take the balcony role with most of the targets. This was achieved after over a week's worth of practice and preparation to get the muscle memory and timing down, which showed some real dedication from both players. Another really cool thing about this run is that normally, one player would have to hold the last zombie of the round while doing sharpshooter, which is really difficult. But there's actually a really cool way to have Leroy keep the last zombie alive, and both players can focus 100% of their attention to sharpshooter.
Look at it. And then, boom. And now it's stuck.
Go check out the link in the description to watch B-Dog and Flo's full video. It's just crazy to me how this Easter egg being possible has gone unnoticed for so long, and it really makes you wonder what other interesting things are possible on these older COD games. You might be thinking to yourself, though, that you've already seen a buried solo Easter egg somewhere, and that's probably because you have. In fact, a Lex reaction video to a former solo world record has over 1.5 million views. The solo Easter egg being possible is only thanks to Hattie, a BO2 modder, who made a mod for not only Buried, but also Die Rise and Tranzit to make the Easter eggs possible with any amount of players for those without people to play with. The 2-player buried Easter egg becoming possible brings up some important questions about how the speedrun leaderboards should work on ZWR. Because the 2-player speedruns on the leaderboard right now use Hattie's mod to make sharpshooter much easier, having only 39 required targets of the 84 total, since it was thought to be impossible to hit all 84 with less than 3 players. But now that it's proven to be possible to do the entire Easter egg and all of the targets with only 2 players, the leaderboard rules should probably be changed. This also goes for the Richtofen side leaderboard. 2-player Richtofen is still impossible because of the round infinity step, but on the sharpshooter step, it's possible to hit all 84 targets rather than the modded 39 targets. So should that also be changed? Because on the 3-player leaderboard, you need to hit all 84. So if we're keeping the rules consistent, it should be required to do sharpshooter legitimately on every category where it's possible. This actually brings up another important topic though. Because if you need a mod to complete the Easter egg, should that speedrun even be on the main leaderboard in the first place? Because right now, if you check the buried leaderboard, there is nothing separating the legitimate categories from the modded ones. So for new runners looking at the leaderboards, it's impossible to know which runs are legitimate and which ones use the mod to complete the Easter egg. Many top players advocate to have the modded Easter eggs be completely removed from the main leaderboard, because modded categories are typically on the community leaderboards and not the main ones. I think that's a bit of an extreme solution though, because the solo Easter eggs using mods are extremely popular, so I think if ZWR just adds an indicator to show which leaderboards are modded, even if they're on the main leaderboard, would be the best case scenario in my opinion. Moving on from Buried, did you guys know that there's actually a Victus Easter egg that's possible solo? You might already know which map it is. It's the Tranzit Easter egg, and this is how it became possible despite being designed to be completed with 4 players. In early January of 2020, Apex Dragon noticed that it was possible to complete every step of the Richtofen side Easter egg on Tranzit, completely solo except for the last step. That's mainly because the steps for the Tranzit Easter egg are very simple compared to most other Easter eggs. Turn on the power, build the jet gun, blow up the jet gun under the pylon, and then fill the pylon with 25 zombie souls. And now for the last step, you need to EMP 4 separate lamps of the 8 total around the map, and there's a time limit of about 5 seconds to do this. The easiest way to do the final step is to have 4 players each throw 1 EMP at a lamp, but you might notice that each player can hold up to 2 EMPs. So in a 2-player game, if both players set up a portal under a lamp using a denizen, you can have both players throw an EMP at their own lamp, jump through the portal, bringing them to another lamp, and each throw the second EMPs, shutting down 4 total lamps within 5 seconds, making the Easter egg possible with only 2 players. But in a solo game, it was much more complicated. Apex Dragon knew the only thing preventing the Easter egg being done solo was the inventory cap of 2 EMPs, because you need to EMP 4 lamps in 5 seconds. But there was a really clever way around this. A solo player can only carry 2 EMPs, but with a max ammo, you can throw your 2 EMPs and refill them using the max. So this is the strategy to complete the last step solo. Set up portals at as many lamps as you can around the map. These are called pre-placed portals. Then, go to the power lamp and kill zombies there until you get a max ammo. Once ready, throw your first EMP using this specific lineup. This will EMP the cabin lamp all the way across the map. After the first EMP, throw your second at your feet to hit the power lamp. Then, grab the max ammo to refill your EMPs, and jump through the portal. You now need to pray that you teleport to a lamp where you've already pre-placed a portal. And if you do, throw your third EMP to hit the lamp, and jump through the pre-placed portal. Pray one last time that you teleport to a new lamp, and throw your fourth and final EMP at that lamp in under 5 seconds to complete the Easter egg solo. This is what it looks like at full speed. The craziest part is that this probably isn't the last discovery we'll see on Black Ops 2, or the other original COD Zombies titles. As more people come back to these older games, I wouldn't be surprised if we see even more ways to push the limits of these games that everyone thinks is currently impossible. So if you want to see those when they happen, make sure to subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching.